All right, guys, good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. Today, I want to give you the market update for the Treasure Coast as I do every Wednesday at 12:30. And we try to focus on different things, right? So if there's something you want to focus on, something you're interested in, whether it's commercial or vacant land or waterfront or luxury or first-time home buyers or new construction, it doesn't matter what it is. You let me know and we can dig into it. All you got to do is put down a comment below, whether you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, and we will absolutely add that to what we focus on in the coming weeks. All right, so let's dig in. This week, we're going to focus on a question that I've been getting a lot lately with prices going up. And I'm not seeing this so much in the 500 plus range. I'm seeing this in the first time home buyer range, right? People who maybe could have afforded homes a year or two ago, now they can't afford homes. Rates have gone up a little bit. And so I'm seeing families come together, right? Families are coming together. And so we're seeing more people in the house. And when I say families, I'm saying maybe mom comes and moves in with you, right? Maybe your grandma and grandpa live with you. I'm seeing this more and more as time goes on. And we're going to continue to see it if prices continue to increase, which we'll see, right? If rates continue to increase, which we'll see. So looking at 4+ bedroom homes in Port St. Lucie, I want you to see some differences. What can you expect with a 4+ bedroom home? So looking up total bedrooms, let's look right now. And I'm just looking in Port St. Lucie, we've got 360 homes that are available. That's not a lot of homes. It might look like a lot, but when you think of the fact that there's over 200,000 people that live in the city of Port St. Lucie, man, it's not a lot of people, right? You can see all the green dots right here. These dots are the locations of these different homes. So you've got some over here on the east side, a lot in the heart of the city, and then along the west side here, predominantly tradition, PGA. You've got a lot of homes over here as well, right? So now, if we come in out of 360, how many have 4+ bedrooms? You can see that number goes to 125. So let's get our trusty calculator out. I'm going to guess this is about 34%, 35%, 34.7%. So roughly 1 out of every 3 homes in Port St. Lucie that's available for sale right now has at least 4 bedrooms, okay? So there are a lot of options out there. Then the question is, okay, well, where does that start price-wise? What are we looking at for a price? And I hate to tell you what a price results in when it comes to a payment because it's dependent on so many things. It's dependent upon you know, what's your credit score look like and your job history and how much down are you putting. And that'll result in a different, mortgage rate. And it also depends on your insurance, the taxes, is it in an HOA, so many different things. So I'm not going to get into what that means for a monthly payment, but if you need to know a monthly payment, let me know, connect with me, and I can get you in touch with a lender who can run some numbers for you, and you can feel out, is it worth it to buy or rent? I'll tell you right now, I'm seeing that even though prices are going up, prices have skyrocketed for rentals. They've gone up 25, 30% over the last 12 months. And so in a lot of cases, you're going to save a lot of money if you buy. Now, the issue with buying is, yes, you're going to save money monthly, but do you have the cash to put down to do so? That's the big question, right? So if you've got the cash, I wouldn't say it's a no-brainer. I would say it's about 80, 90% of the time going to make sense to buy over rent, but not in every case. So you want to run the numbers with a lender, right? So you can see right here, we've got 4-bedroom homes starting at $350. The next one is $390, $395, $399, $399. So we've got 7 out of 125, which is what, about 3%, 5.6%. So 7 out of 125 are 400 grand or less. If you're looking up to 500 grand, let's see. So we've got a lot in the 4s. Up to 500 grand is 58 out of 125. So 58 out of 125. So yeah, roughly half, or 46.4%, are at that $500,000 or less. And remember, while prices are high, you're thinking, man, 354, 455, that's high. But if you come in as two families, 2 couples, whatever it is, looking at $500,000, that's the equivalent of $250 each. So now per family, it's cheaper. Does that suck? Does that add a level of suck and discomfort? Yeah, all day long. Inconvenience. I could go on and on and on about why people don't want to do this, but we're seeing it happen more and more. So the affordability, because you can't change prices, you can't change rates, but you can change how many people are responsible for paying for that payment, and it just opens up other options, right? This is also true just for families who can afford this and just have a bunch of kids. There's also people who've got 2, 3, 4 kid families. You need the extra bedroom, so it's nice to see these numbers as well, right? So let's get into a CMA. And CMA is a comparative market analysis, and it just shows us some of the numbers. These are for 4 bedrooms available right now in Port St. Lucie. So you can see the low is 349.9. Obviously, there's one at 2.8 million, but the average is 624. Now, the average can be a little misleading. So if there's 125 options, that means that 63rd option is the median price, right? Which right here is 519.9. So let's just say 520. So you can see the median is much less than 624, which is the average. That's because on the high end, there are ridiculously high prices that really pull that average high. So just know, again, you've got 46.4% of the homes with 4 bedrooms in Port St. Lucie that you can get for $500,000 or less. That's a big point, right? Square footage. Now, square footage in Port St. Lucie averages in that 18 to 1,900 square feet range. But you can see for these, the low end is 1,344. Man, that is a tight house with 4 bedrooms. They've got a monster up here at 6,213, but the average square footage is 2,475. So you're going to get a bigger house, more square footage, more space for the people that are going to inhabit that house. It's phenomenal, right? List price per square foot, $244.65. I'm going to write that down because we're going to look up another number here in just a second. I want to see how that compares to the sales prices. Usually the list prices are a little bit higher, but we will see. Okay, so now we're coming back, and I'm going to go back to edit search, and that's what's for sale. Let's see what's actually sold, and because prices are changing so often, let's just go back to the first of the year. So we've got 388 sales since the first of the year in Port St. Lucie. Again, these are 4-bedroom homes. Let me just make sure I got that 4-bedroom box checked. I do. Let's go back to CMA. And we're going to come in again. CMA is comparative market analysis. It's really just looking at statistical analysis to see what we can see from a bird's eye view, right? So there were 388 sales. The average sale was 438. That's what they were asking. But the sales price was 437,604. So you can see they're getting like 99.9 or whatever it is, some really high number, percent of the asking price. There are homes that sell under asking. There are a lot of homes that sell over asking, but the average is right around asking price, right? Now you can see the average square footage is 2,255, a little bit smaller than what we're seeing right now on the market. And what that tells me is the bigger homes square footage wise are probably the homes that are 1.5 to 2.5, $3 million. They take a little bit longer to sell. Right? So for that reason, those homes probably have 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 square feet. The average is going to come down on what actually sells versus what's on the market. That's important to know. Now, the list price on the homes that sold, this does not take into consideration homes that were on the market since the first of the year with 4 bedrooms and did not sell. This is only homes that actually sold. The list price was $193.57 a square foot, selling for $193.65, almost exactly the same price per square foot, right? 193 versus the asking price of $244.65 a square foot. So you can see that when you're looking at 4-bedroom homes, the ones that are selling are the ones that are in the 190s per square foot on average, right? Maybe 210s, 220s, 230s, but to see homes going in the 244 range where the average is, we're just not seeing those sales as much. Do they sell? Sure they sell, but just not as much, right? So coming back into some of these sales, let's look at what the low and high end list prices are. So you can see, remember the first home that we saw on the low end of the price range on the asking prices was $350, right? You can see here on sales, we've got 265, 266, 276, 280, 280. We've got a handful, 6 out of 388. Not a lot, but we've got a couple that are selling under $300,000. Okay, now if I remember correctly, we had Was it 7 out of 125 that had sold for 400 grand or less? We've got to go all the way up. Holy smokes. All the way up to, still going, still going, still going. Okay, here we go. Right here, 198. That's over half. That's 51.03%. So just a little bit over half of what actually sells when it comes to 4-bedroom homes is that $400,000 range or less. Now, I told you 46.4% of asking prices right now are 500 grand or less. See, this has taken me a while to get to all the sales that are 500 grand and less because there were a lot of them. 325. 325 divided by 388 is 83.76%. So what is that? Roughly 6 out of every 7, or maybe 5 out of every 6, 83.7% that are selling 4-bedroom homes in Port St. Lucie are at that $500,000 price point, sales point or less. So the asking prices versus sales prices can be a little deceiving. There are a lot of people on right now that are trying to get these wonderful prices, right? And a lot of the people that are in the $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 range, those homes are selling quick. Honestly, up to $1 million, they're selling quick. I just had one that sold a couple weeks ago. It was $1 million, and honestly, we thought it was a little overpriced. One day, cash, sold, full price. So you never know in this market, but I will tell you, even in this market, while it's the best market we've ever seen for luxury, you're still seeing those 7- and 8-figure homes taking a little bit longer than these lower priced homes to sell. And it makes sense. The buyer pool is smaller. They're going to take a little bit more time to make a decision. These guys have more options. They can build custom. They can go, do a lot. They can do a lot of things. If you got a lot of money, you can do a lot of things. So it makes sense why they would sit on the market a little bit longer. But it's interesting to see these statistics. But guys, you've got a lot of options when it comes to 4-bed homes. You've got a lot of options. Just a rate update. Let's see if I can get back to this. A rate update. Rates are changing all the time. They're going up, they're going down. They're going to continue to go up and down. The whole goal behind rate changes is to curb inflation, right? So we're probably going to see, as the Fed has stated, rates continue to go up throughout the year. Most expectations, right? If you talk to lenders, if you talk to economic analysts, are saying that by the end of the year, the average 30-year fixed conventional loan rate will probably hover around that 5%. Could it be more? Absolutely. Could it come down? Absolutely. Could it go down from where it's currently at, which is kind of the low 4s, maybe 4.25, 4.3? Absolutely. But that's what the forecast is. So I'm getting a lot of people right now analyzing, should I buy, should I sell? What should I be doing? I'll tell you, if you're thinking about buying, looking at the fact that rates are likely going to go up, and while the national market, who knows what's going to happen, right? At the same time, the Florida market is probably going to be the hottest market in the nation once again. We've got so many people attracted to the low-income tax, and the more prices go up, the more that low-income tax is attractive, right? That makes sense. We've also got beautiful weather. We're close to a beach, right? A lot of reasons that people are attracted to Florida. So if I had to bet, and I always say this, my wife and I bought back in, it was either June or July, and we were talking about, hey, do we wait and see if the market changes? What do we do? And I looked up the stats and I said, honey, if you go back and look over 70 years in real estate, there was only 1 year where the market dipped 10% or more. And that 1 year was 2008 from memory. It was right around there. And with the exception of that 1 year, that one time in 70-year history, it would have never dipped at least 10%. It either went down less than 10%, it stayed the same, or it went up. And if it only dips 3, 4, 5%, it still would have made sense to buy because you're paying down your mortgage. If you rent from me, you're paying down my mortgage. You don't want to be paying down my mortgage. You want to pay down your mortgage. That way, when you go to sell, I just had a friend, she had bought her home, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. And she bought it out in Denver, and she paid 400 grand for it. And she just sold that sucker for 710. with the amount she paid down on her loan plus what she made on her home, even after expenses, she's got over $300,000 in her account off a decision that cost her $5,000 plus 15 from her 401k. That 20 grand was 5% down on this $400,000 home. And a handful of years later, she's got $300,000+ in her account. It's tough to leverage that, right? So when people are analyzing, do I rent? It could be the worst market you've ever seen in your life. And if you sit in that house for 8, 10, 12 years, you're going to make out in the positive. I don't care how long you're in a rental, you're going to lose money. So unless you're moving state to state to state every 2 years, there just aren't a lot of situations where it doesn't make financial sense. Now, that said, you've got to have the cash to get into the game, right? So on an FHA, which is generally the cheapest loan you can get into unless you're in the military or you were in the military, you're going to need 3.5% down. Closing costs are going to probably be somewhere in the 3 to 4% range. So you're looking at that 6.5 to 7.5% down. In a weaker market for sellers, buyers could ask for sellers to pay closing costs. In this market, can you ask for it? Absolutely. How many people are going to do it? Not very many. And I'll tell you, the people who are going to do it are people who are overpriced. And if you pay them the overpriced number because you want to get them to pay your closing costs, the challenge then is, will the appraisal come in? And it will. There are homes that there just aren't great comps for, and it did sell for more than what the market probably shows it's worth. But appraisers are people. I've seen an appraisal last year. We had a home that was $360. We got an offer in for $360. Appraisal came back at $307. $53,000 short. So we lost the deal. It was the only deal I lost due to appraisal last year. Put the home back on the market the next day, and that next day I got another offer for $360. We got to the appraisal point. Appraisal came back. Guess what? It was $360. Magic. Guys, appraisers are people too, and they're looking at different things, different numbers. I'm a human being. You can get me and a phenomenal agent, 10 phenomenal agents, and we can look at your house and we're going to give you 10 different values. And it's not that we're right or wrong. It's that we're looking at different things. By the way, when you're looking at any realtor you're working with's value for your home, I highly suggest not just taking the number. You want to see the why. How did you get to the number? How did you do the research? What were you looking at when it came to comps? Because then you'll sell yourself on the confidence of what they are looking at to come up with your value. And I think that's incredibly important. Right? And if they're really confident with their numbers and with their value, they should easily be able to articulate that to you. If they can't, I always say, how well do you truly know something if you can't teach it to somebody else? If I know your home's value and I'm confident in it, I can easily communicate that to you, right? So guys, if you want to look at the value of your home, if you want to talk numbers, anything, if it's a me conversation, great. Reach out. I'd be more than happy to help you. If it's a lender conversation, I'll certainly get you in touch with a lender. Have a wonderful week. And again, if you need any questions answered when it comes to a market update, throw it in the comments and we will certainly attack it next week. Have a phenomenal Wednesday.